In this video, I am going to explain about round robin scheduling algorithm. So this is one of the CPU scheduling algorithm. I will explain this algorithm with the help of an example. Let us assume that here we have three processes P1, P2, P3, and these are the burst times of these processes. That means P1 requires 24 milliseconds of time, CPU time, in order to finish its execution, and P3 requires 3 milliseconds of CPU time in order to finish its execution. Okay, so now round robin scheduling algorithm is somewhat similar to the first in first out scheduling algorithm or first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So if you observe in the first come first serve scheduling algorithm, so here let us assume that P1, P2, P3, these are the processes and these are entered into the ready queue. Let us assume that this is the ready queue. That means now these processes are ready to execute. Okay, but they have not got the CPU till now. Okay, so they are waiting for the CPU. Now in the first come first serve, what happens is first P1 will get the chance. Here also this is the Gantt chart for round robin scheduling algorithm. Here first P1 got the chance, then P2 got the chance, then P3 got the chance. So here if you observe, round robin scheduling is also similar to the first come first serve scheduling, but round robin scheduling is first come first serve plus preemptive. Here we should add preemption concept. In the round robin we should add preemption. So preemption is nothing but taking the CPU forcefully from a process. So here if you observe, actually P1 process requires 24 milliseconds of CPU time in order to finish its execution. But here if you observe, we are not giving 24 milliseconds of time for P1. We are giving only 4 milliseconds of time for P1. So after executing for 4 milliseconds, we are forcefully taking the CPU from the P1 and we are assigning CPU to the process P2. So which is the next one in the queue. So first CPU is allocated for P1. Okay. So after that, after 4 milliseconds of time, we are forcefully taking the CPU from P1 and we are giving the CPU to the next one in the queue. So who is next one in the queue? Here P2 is the next process in the queue. So we will take the P2. Here if you observe, we are forcefully taking the CPU from the process P1 after 4 seconds. Here this time is called the time quantum, or we can call it as time slice. Okay. So the range of this time quantum can be from 10 milliseconds to 100 milliseconds. So it is not necessary that you should choose only 4 milliseconds. Okay, you can choose the time quantum as 5 milliseconds or 50 milliseconds. It is based on our requirement, we can choose the time quantum. Okay, so here in the round robin scheduling algorithm, we use time quantum. We use time quantum. So based on the time quantum, so here what is the time quantum we have chosen? Here 4 milliseconds is the time quantum. So after executing this much of time, okay, now we should preempt this process. That means we should forcefully take the CPU from that process and we should give the CPU to the some other process. Okay, for this process also we should give only 4 milliseconds. Okay, after that we should take the CPU from this process and we should give chance to the P3. Okay, so here if you observe, P1 process requires burst time is more than the time quantum. So okay, it requires 24 milliseconds but the time quantum is 4. So we have taken the CPU forcefully from P1 and we have allocated to P2. So here if you observe, P2 requires only 3 milliseconds but we have given 4 milliseconds time quantum, right? Here the burst time is less than the time quantum. In that situation what happens is P2 takes the CPU for only for 3 milliseconds of time. After 3 milliseconds of time, it will release the CPU. Okay, so now who will get the chance? P3, right? Now P3 get the chance. If you observe P3, so it also requires only 3 milliseconds milliseconds of time. So here time quantum is 4 milliseconds, but it requires only 3 milliseconds. So it will use the CPU only for 3 milliseconds and it will release the CPU. That means if the burst time is less than the time quantum, then the process can finish its execution and can release the CPU when it finishes the execution. Okay. If the burst time is more than the time quantum, then the CPU will be taken from that process forcefully. Okay. So here you need to observe one point. First chance is given to P1. So after executing 4 milliseconds of time, again it needs to execute 20 milliseconds, right? So it needs 20 milliseconds of CPU time. So it has not finished its execution. That means it should be placed in the ready queue, right? So the processes which want to execute, those processes should be in the ready queue. So this process has not finished its execution. Only 3 milliseconds of time it has used the CPU. So it needs 20 milliseconds of CPU time. So it should be placed in the ready queue. Where it should be placed? It should be placed at the tail of the queue. Now head becomes P2. So after finishing the execution of P2, so P2 finished its execution, right? So now here we will remove the P2 from the ready queue and here head will be moved to this place and tail will be moved to this place. Okay. So now let us assume that P3 has finished its execution. Okay. So now we will remove the P3 from the ready queue and now head will be moved to this place. Okay. So here if you observe, first P1 will be executed, then P2, then P3, then P1. That means first P1 will be executed, after that P2, after that P3. Okay. So here in the round robin scheduling algorithm, processes will be executed in this fashion. Okay. So each process will get CPU for a fixed amount of time. If a particular process finishes its execution within that time, then there is no problem. If a process does not finish its execution, then again it will get the chance to complete its execution. Okay. So here we will calculate the waiting time. So what is the waiting time of P1? P1 is here and P1 is here. So what is the waiting time? It has waited for 10 milliseconds, right? But before 10 milliseconds also, it will be executed for 4 milliseconds. So we have to subtract 4. So what is the total value? 6. P2 is executed, P2 waiting time is 4. Then P3 waiting time is 7. So what is the average time? 6 plus 4 plus 7. Okay. So what is the average time? 6 plus 4 plus 7 by 3. That means 17 by 3. That is equal to 5.6 milliseconds is the average waiting time. Okay. This is the average waiting time.